me. I'm really excited to share some tips with all of you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can you see that okay?
Sure can.
Okay, wonderful. So yes, this is a presentation on how to build a compelling resume. And let's just go ahead and get started. So 7 tips to increase interviews. We're going to go through each one of these. The first one is to it's a bridge between the past and the future, reframing the resume that way. Finding keywords based on a realistic job target, using keywords to drive the content on your resume, including a qualification summary, practicing car stories, starting your bullets with success verbs, and doing a check of your grammar and spelling. So the first one, the bridge between the past and the future. So this is, it used to be that the resume was a historical document of what you've done in your career. Now it really depends on what your job target is. So you can see in the sample career path, a programmer might put different content on a resume, whether they wanted to go in a career direction towards a business analyst versus a senior programmer, or go into a management role. So that's going to shape the way that you write the content on your resume. And you're going to pull those things from each career move. If you're farther along in your career, again, you'll want to pull the themes from each job related to your target job. And this can be different for people. Some people are really at the top of their game and they're climbing the ladder. Some people are burnt out, or maybe they have some health or family obligations where they need to take a step down. And some people have a role and they realize that they want something a little bit different. So you can see, with each career move, people have different motivations and goals. And so that really makes a difference when you're working on your resume. The second one is to find keywords. So if you look at a job posting and look at the top 5 requirements or qualifications, and you meet those, this is going to give you information about whether or not it's a realistic place where you can compete. So once you identify those job titles where you can compete based on your experience, and you know which industries you'd like to be working in, you can pull those keywords and put that into your resume. So one option is to use a tag cloud keyword generator. And this is a sample down here of one for creative services manager. So you can see the larger words would be some of the sample keywords that you'd want to include in your resume. Number 3, use keywords to highlight your experience on your resume, on your LinkedIn, and on your cover letter as well. So you can see the little chart. There may be tasks that you love to do that you wouldn't necessarily need to include. There may be things people will pay you to do, but that's not necessarily what you want to be doing. And then there's things that you're good at, and you really want to focus your resume on that content right in the middle there of your dream job or your next target job. Another thing about using these keywords and highlighting your experience is that you want to put your most competitive experience on the first page. And so if that's not your most recent role, like maybe you took a detour and you're ready to be, on the top of your game again, you can add sections to your professional experience, either relevant for that specific job or additional experience for jobs that are maybe less relevant for that role. So really seeing the resume as a living document that's spotlighting the skills that are specific for the type of job that you want. Okay, number 4 is including a qualification summary. So this is really mirroring the requirements of the jobs that you want with the years that you have with each of those skill sets. So this is really a shift to orient the top of the resume towards what potential employers want. And if you're only applying for what you want, then that's still focused on what your target is. And you can have up to 5 theme statements or bullets in that top section of the resume. And again, focus on skills relevant to the job target. So you've got your skills, you've got your dream job, and you want to focus your content on where they overlap. Number 5 is to practice car stories. So a car story is the challenge, the action, and the result within your work setting. And the benefit of doing this is that it makes your story and your skill set more memorable compared with other people with similar skills. Your accomplishment bullets are mini car stories, and when possible, include numbers to quantify your success. So here's an example. This is some of the sample language from a job posting. Responsible for ideating, creating, and executing dynamic content and visual design with a primary focus on digital. So these are some sample resume bullets. Decreased website bounce rate 35% by creating user-friendly dynamic content. So that's a compelling statement that then if an interviewer asked you about that, then you would be able to tell the full car story that had more of the details and could really bring that story to life. Okay, number 6 is to start with success verbs. So it used to be you would start resume bullets with managed or coordinated and really focus on what you did. And instead, what you want to do is focus on the impact of what you did. And then by doing the thing that you did. So these are some dynamic verbs that really show you in action. As you can see the graph, it's like, are you somebody who is really focused on eliminating redundancy? Are you improving processes? And it really becomes engaging when you use some of these success verbs. And number 7 is to check your grammar and spelling. So take a break between writing and editing. Ask a friend, family member, or colleague to proofread it. And, just having fresh eyes often catch more mistakes. And you can see from the image that I used that one letter can really make a big difference on the meaning. Okay, so I really encourage people to take the time to discover your next direction, what's really going to be compelling and exciting for you, the challenges that you want. As well as something that's realistic as far as being able to compete with other people with similar skill sets. And then write your resume to highlight stories with similar results to the job that you want. And that's how you can step towards having a job that you love. So now I just want to check in with everyone that's listening and ask you which resume tip that you would like to implement first.
Hey, Ursula, at the start of this slide, you started, I think your internet connection might be unstable.
Oh, okay. For this slide or the last one?
The last slide.
Okay, let me go back.
Sorry about that.
Oh, thanks for letting me know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I just want to reiterate that, by taking the time to discover the direction that you want to go in next and know that you can compete there, when you gear your resume content to highlight stories in your career that have a similar result to the type of positions you're wanting to apply for and get a job in next, then that's going to help you stand out from the competition and get a job that you love. Okay, so again, asking people just, which resume tip you would like to implement first to get started. Again, reframing, bridging the past and the future, really focusing your content of the resume there. Identifying target keywords from jobs that you are qualified for. Using keywords in the stories on your resume, including a qualification summary at the top from your entire career. Practicing car stories, starting with success verbs, and doing a spelling and grammar check. So this, I'm not sure about the chat option here, so maybe we'll skip that. This is just a moment for you to reflect and pick one of these that you want to get started with. And then if you'd like additional support with your resume or job search, here's my contact information if you'd like to get in touch with me.
Ursula, is it possible to share your deck with those that registered today?
Yes, I can definitely do that.
Great. I love the slide with the action verbs. I find myself when working on my resume constantly looking for those really impactful verbs, and you feel like you use the same ones over and over again. So to see some new ones, I think was really nice. I also like the car, providing to qualify each of your objectives or your statements through those three, through the acronym, I think is really, really helpful.
Yes, definitely. It can bring it to life, because so many people, it's like you're competing with other people with a similar skill set. So it's a really great way to bring your story to life and show you in action in a way that's different from other people who also do that.
Well, if there's no questions at this time, oh, but there is a question. So, what is your suggestion for success bullets when you don't feel like you have metrics? Great question, Shannon.
That is a great question. Yeah, so this comes up a lot with, say, something like administration. A lot of times it's about process, like how much faster is a process. So, if you're not in sales where you can say increase sales and being able to say, okay, well, we used to do things this way and now we do them this way. And it takes, a quarter of the time that it used to for the same process. So you can say something like reduced a specific process, 75% by improving, the steps involved or something like that. So that would be one way to think about it, is how long a task takes. And if you've been able to incorporate tools, maybe it's templates or working cross-functionally to get everyone on the same page about what the process is. There's really a lot of potent stuff there that you can include to have numbers. Another thing you can do is talk about how many people you've worked with, or how many people you presented to, or how many people you manage. Those are some different ways to include numbers on your resume and just give a scope and some interesting numbers that helps the reader picture you in action again. It's like how many people are in the room, or how much more quickly are things getting done. So those are a couple examples of how to include numbers.
Great question. I think there's a lot when you're outside of marketing or sales. It's hard to pull in statistical facts to kind of back up, changes that you may have made or improvements you've made. So kind of looking at more holistically, I think, is really helpful.
Yes, and to that point, I encourage people, anytime you take on a new project or something is like, oh man, this is messy, we really need to do this differently, keep track of what's happening and how long it takes. And then that way, when you get to the end of the project, then you can go back and look and look at it again. So really seeing, again, the resume as a living document where you're keeping track of the projects that you're doing both before and after, so you can really feel confident talking about the impact and the difference that it's made.
Okay, everyone, you got your homework for the day. Make sure that resume is updated and that you've used some of Ursula's tips to really make that living document come to life. I'll make sure that I send the deck out. And if you have additional questions or could use some career coaching, please reach out to Ursula. Thank you so much for attending today. And thank you so much, Ursula, for being a great, great guest. And hope to see everyone soon. Stay safe.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.